Hello everyone, welcome. Can experience lead one to enlightenment? No. How can a finite experience lead one to infinity? Impossible. The only way finite can claim infinity or freedom is if it is already infinite. Why? By definition, moksha or liberation must be real and infinite. But infinity precludes the existence of any second entity. So, to talk of your being away from the infinite to start with, and your attaining it later is illogical. In short, only if you are infinite yourself, you can discover your infinite nature. Transformation from finite to another finite is useless. Transformation from infinite to infinite is not necessary. Transformation from finite to infinite is impossible. Only if we are already infinite but are ignorant of it can we discover our infinity. If infinity is not the ego's nature, the ego will never get it. Even if the ego gets it, it will not be permanent. Because something having a beginning and be eternal is illogical, absurd. We can therefore never get liberation. We can only drop the notion that we are not liberated. That is the only way it can be permanent. A play character can never become the real actor. Only the real actor can realize he has never been the play character. Samsara problem is therefore a rope snake problem. Rope appearing like a snake in twilight. Samsara solution is rope snake solution. Self is already free. The rope ignorance is removed only by rope knowledge because we are already the rope. The solution is to claim reality and make the dependent reality or apparent reality or the world mithya, not significant. Physical dissociation from the three states, the three bodies and the three universes, which is not self or mithya or experience, is not possible. Why? Because awareness being eternal and all-pervading like space can never get away from anything. This separation is only possible through knowledge. The switching of identification from the not self to the self. No amount of doing can kill the twilight's rope snake. Just like we need extra light instead of a stick to remove the rope snake, we need knowledge instead of karma or doing or any kind of experience to remove the misery. Actions are only useful for obtaining something we don't have or getting rid of something we do have. However, actions are useful in gaining a pure or dispassionate mind. And experience is temporary. Only absolute knowledge of the self is permanent because the self reality is ever present. Experience may or may not include knowledge, but Knowledge is always inclusive of experience and transcends it. Knowledge is object dependent, firm, and non contradictory. Experience, effort, can never take you to knowledge because of the following 11 reasons. 1. The doer of any action is limited, and the result of action are limited. But freedom is limitless, so it cannot be caused by something a person does. Freedom is the nature of the self. Self reality is not a state. It is something that we are already, not something to be gained. 2. Absolute cannot be gained with any effort or action. Effort or action implies loss of something to gain something else. But absolute must include all. Therefore, the gain of the limitlessness has to be a gain that does not involve a process of becoming. It has to be a gain without effort. The only thing that can be gained without effort is something that has been gained already, but hidden by ignorance. Any effort is opposite to Atma because Atma, awareness, is unchanging. 3. Reality is subtler than and prior to experience. How can experience validate reality? Experience is reality, but reality is not experience. 4. We do actions because we are ignorant of our completeness. Experience is in harmony with ignorance or action and can only make the actions dense. So, the more actions we do, the more our sense of incompleteness is reinforced. Identification with experience and the pseudo-experiencer is the cause of this confusion and delusion to begin with. 5th point. How can a particular transaction or experience between a constantly changing subject and a constantly changing object produce a permanent experience of happiness? 6. There is no such thing as causal relation ultimately. Hence, no practice or effort will, as cause, produce Brahman as effect. 7. If I work for liberation or moksha and moksha arrives one day, that moksha will exit. Something cannot have a beginning and be eternal. It is illogical. Moksha is dismissing the misconception that moksha arrives. Number 8. Experience takes you from state to state, and there is no such thing as a permanently happy state because all states of mind are in apparent reality, always changing. Consciousness or awareness is not a state. All states are in awareness. 9. How does the screen extricate itself from the movie? If the screen was in the movie, it would have to work very hard and then there would be a practice or activity for it to do. Screen is not in the movie. It is not attached to the movie. All you have to do is to remember that the movie is an apparent modulation of the ever-present screen. Mind needs to understand that the seeming body-bound consciousness is the same as the all-pervading consciousness. Needs to understand the identity between ego and Brahman. 10. Actions, subtle and gross, can only produce things not immediately available. But the self, the limitless I, our true identity, is eternally present, the nearest of the near. So no action will help us reach it. There is also no question of liberation in any non dual samadhi like experiences because the one who needs liberation, which is intellect or buddhi, mind, is not there. The only possible way to separate I from experience is through knowledge. The stick underwater only seems to be bent. If I take the bent rod real, I have to do something to straighten the stick. When I know the bent is only a seeming one, I do not need to make any effort to straighten the stick. Let the stick be in water and appear to be bent, but it is straight all the time. Rather than imagine that there is some experience that you have not had that will make you happy, why not look into why whatever you are experiencing right now does not make you happy? Again, rather than imagine that there is some experience that you have not had that will make you happy, why not look into why whatever you're experiencing right now does not make you happy? Any experience that begins and ends is not you. Experience is in you. 11th point. The experiencing instrument, the ego mind, can only know objects. Experience is on a transactional relative plane. Absolute knowledge is not. Doing can never take you to being. In Raja Yoga, it is said that Purusha, the self, has become Prakriti, the nature. This causes a big problem because how do you reverse the process and turn Prakriti into Purusha? You don't, because Purusha and Prakriti are one and the same, non-dual awareness. But they seem to be different owing to ignorance. So you only have to get rid of the ignorance. You can never remove darkness by emptying or doing. It can only be removed by light. If the experience reveals that you are the awareness of the experiencing entity, the dualism problem is solved. We think we are human beings searching for spiritual experience, but we are spiritual beings having a human experience. So, the wholeness problem, the completeness problem, the happiness problem, enlightenment, is going to be solved by knowledge or understanding only. Since the reality or the real you is non-dual, the solution can only be self-knowledge. The solution is not in the domain of experience because you are already and always experiencing the self-reality. Whatever experience brings is limited and will not therefore set one free. It is the dispassionate relationship with experience that will set one free. It is the dispassionate relationship with experience that will set one free. It is called vairagya, indifference to the results of your actions or experience. Detachment with all goals except that of liberation or moksha. Freedom from likes and dislikes or raga dveshas. Self-knowledge that I am limitless awareness is the recognition of our true nature, which ends one's search for knowledge. So, don't go for any special, super, mystical, or extraordinary experience. Go for self-knowledge. Go for understanding. Remember, knowledge must not contradict scriptures, asrutis, experience, and reason. Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. The doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. The doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Reality is already an extraordinary experience. It is divine beauty. It is miraculous. There is no other greater miracle than the miracle of experience. It is looking like an ordinary experience because of the lack of knowledge about it, lack of understanding. Make your seemingly ordinary experience extraordinary with the right understanding, with the right knowledge. Thank you.